Hello and welcome to Terrestrial Speeches. Today's video is going to be space-themed combos. Let's get into this video. This video is going to be space-themed combos, and this video was suggested by Record Guy 2023. Thank you very much for the video suggestion. They said, can you do space combos? What I mean is skins that are space related. Of course I can. I decided to make 10 as usual, and let's get into the first one. The first one is Mission Specialist from Chapter 1, Season 3, part of the Space Explorer set. This skin has 3 edit styles, has the default, visor down, and no helmet. I decided to use the edit style visor down. Back bling is Gains, which is part of the To the Moon set, introduced in Chapter 2, Season 6, and his diamond hands is back bling, works very nice with the orange of the astronaut suit. Pickaxe is the Spellwork Scimitar from Chapter 3, Season 2's Battle Pass, part of the Doctor Strange set, and his Doctor Strange's pickaxe from that season. For all combos, I decided to use a Comet Crash. I just thought it worked very nicely with the space theme. Contrail is the Overlay, which is from Chapter 1, Season X. I'm pretty sure it's from the Battle Pass, and basically just tells you how close you are to basically the landing in the map, which just tells you how to hit your distance, which is pretty cool. And then the wrap I'm using is Fiery Flow, mainly for the orange, and this is part of the Volcanic Assassin set, introduced in Chapter 3, Season 2. Very nice wrap in my opinion, it works very nicely with this skin. Let's move on to the second space-themed combo. I decided to use a Moonwalker, which is also from the Chapter 1 Season 3 Battle Pass, part of the Space Explorer set also. And similar to the previous skin, this also has 3 edit styles, but I decided to switch it up and use the no helmet style. But you can use the default, the visor down, or the no helmet. It's up to you, but I decided to use the no helmet for this skin. Back bling is the perfect wings, works absolutely perfectly with this skin, the white theme. But you don't have to use these wings, you can use any white themed wings. Would work nicely. You could use the perfect wings that I'm using, shattered wings, arc wings, corrupted blade wings, and put it down to no corruptions at all. I did not mean to whack them on. And you could also use love wings from Chapter 1 Season 3, which is the Love Rangers back bling. That was also work nicely. You could also probably get away with using High Caliber, which is Lux's back bling from Chapter 1 Season 8, and use it in the silver, which would go very nice with the silver on the astronaut suit itself. Pickaxe is Hand Lightning from the Chapter 2 Season 4 Battle Pass, and the Storm's pickaxe from that season. I find this works very nicely and looks, it's not exactly white, but it looks white and goes very nicely with the white theme of this combo. And the wrap I'm using is Shadow Anchor Shift, which is a part of the Shadow series and introduced Chapter 2 Season 1. Actually, I'm going to quickly switch this up and go for the Wolf Pack Battalion skin. Actually, I'm thinking of it because it has black, has white, has grey, so I'll switch it up on the fly. Quick save it, and if you do want to pick up the Wolf Pack stuff or the Clone Trooper Rat Pack, it should still be in the item shop. No, yes it is. The Clone Trooper Rat Pack, you just get it for 400 V-Bucks, which is a steal in my opinion. And this works absolutely perfectly with the skin. I didn't even think about using it until I just saw it then. Let's move on to the next combo, which is Dark Voyager, which is also, as you can guess it, from the Chapter 1 Season 3 Battle Pass, part of the same set, which is Space Explorers. This doesn't have any edit styles. Back bling is the Resistance back bling, using this for the orange theme. Pickaxe is the Sigil of the Empire, mainly for the black, which is Darth Vader's pickaxe from Chapter 3 Season 3, part of the Darth Vader set. Works very nicely with the black of this skin. And the wrap I'm using is Molten Angular Shift to go with the black and orange theme of this skin itself. And this is part of the Lava series, introduced in Chapter 2 Season 1, but you can use anything black or orange themed, would work nicely. Let's move on to the next combo, which is basically a remix version, or a remix version of the last skin we just made combo for, the Dark Voyager. The Eternal Voyager was from Chapter 1 Season X, and that whole season was basically having a skin and then basically change it up a little bit, which is pretty cool. It's basically like remaking certain parts of the skin, and it's basically, as you can see, very similar to the Dark Voyager skin. And this skin itself has 3 stages, has the Voyager, Explorer, and the Eternal. I decided to use the stage Eternal, and it also has 3 colours. It has the black, cerulean, and red. I decided to go for the cerulean for the blue and black. Back bling is the Hurricane, which is Hurricane's back bling, part of the Hurricane set, introduced in Chapter 2 Season 7, using it mainly for the blue, works very nicely with the skin. Pickaxe is Electric Crescents, which is Flake's Power's pickaxe, part of the Flake's Power set, introduced in Chapter 4 Season 1, and I'm using the edit style Electric Crescents, just mainly for the blue. And then the wrap I'm using is Fractal Zero, which is part of the 0 point set, introduced in Chapter 1 Season 8, and this goes very nice. Chapter 1 Season X, works very nicely with the back bling, and this is an item shop wrap, and was most recently in the item shop with the Zephyr Lockers bundle, which was in like a week and a bit ago, and it was either you could get it in the bundle or get it separately. and it works just very nicely with the back bling. I do like this wrap a lot. I've been using it quite a lot since I bought it. Let's move on to the next skin. I decided to whack on Astro, which is part of the Travis Scott set, and it looks very nice. It obviously looks similar to an astronaut as well, so I thought it'd be a little bit cheeky, and it technically counts as a space themed skin. So it's part of the Travis Scott set, introduced in Chapter 2, Season 2, and it has 2 edit styles. It has default and sicko mode. I decided to put the style sicko mode, so it looks pretty cool. But obviously, when you're playing game, you're gonna look very basically stick out like a sore thumb, which are very colourful. So you could just whack on the default if you prefer. Back bling is the Astro World, which is part of the Travis Scott set also, and I'm using the fiery orange, but you could also use blue, would work nicely, but I just decided to get the fiery orange. Pickaxe is a code cutter, which was most recently in the item shop, I think a few days ago, when the glitch announcements were in, and this is basically the pickaxe that is in the same set, which is the machine learning set introduced in Chapter 3, Season 4. It's essentially just a pickaxe you put wraps on and change the hilt colour effect and metal colour, which is pretty cool. Hilt colour I decided to use was orange, effects colour is orange, and then metal colour is blue steel. I was going to use the rose gold, but I thought it doesn't work too nice, so I decided to go with the blue steel, and the wrap just had to be goosebumps. Goes very nicely with obviously this edit style, the sicko mode edit style, and then the wrap I decided to use also was goosebumps. Just go with the sicko mode edit style, it works perfectly for it, so that's why I decided to use it. Let's move on to the next skin, which is Siona, which is from the Chapter 2 Season 3 Battle Pass, part of the Ancient Voyager set. If you don't want to use Siona, you can also use Dio, which is basically the male version of her, which was a item shop skin. If you don't want to use Siona, you can also use the Dio skin if you do own it. I personally don't own the Dio, but if you do want to use that, feel free. And I decided for this skin to use start or default, but you can use Spacefarer Siona. But I decided to just use the default, and then there's 3 colours: default, Nova Siona, and blue Siona. So I decided to go with the Nova Siona, so I could use a back bling Pac-Man, and I'm using the pinky edit style, works absolutely perfectly with the pink theme of this Siona skin, or the Siona edit style. The colour, which is the Nova, works absolutely perfectly. Pickaxe is a Blazeberry blade, part of the Anime Legends set. I'm pretty sure this is the Penny. No, it's the Rocks. I can't remember her name. It's the Rock skin from that one. It is the Ricochet Rox's pickaxe. Works very nicely with the blue and pink theme of the skin. That's why I decided to use it. And the wrap I decided to use was Beast Backdrop, which is Mr. Beast's weapon wrap, and part of the Mr. Beast set introduced in Chapter 4, Season 1. Works absolutely perfect with the blue and the pink. Let's move on to the next skin. I decided to use Spacefarer Ariana Grande. I completely forgot we even had this skin. I know we had the Ariana Grande skin, but I completely forgot we had this one, to be fair. But I decided to use this one. And I'm using the style Spacefarer Ariana Grande. I was trying to make combos with this Starfire, but I couldn't really get anything to go well. So I decided to use just the standard. And the Astronaut Glow is the Astronaut Glow Spacefarer Ariana Grande. It basically shows you obviously the one. And you can have Captain A Grande if you prefer, but I decided to go for this one because it goes very nicely with the back bling. I found it quite hard because if you put on certain back blings, it went through her hair, and I found it just didn't look right, so that's why I decided to use the Herald Star, which is part of the Silver Surfer set introduced in Chapter 2, Season 4, and this is like the only back bling that I could get ready to work nicely, but you guys may have different ones you can get to work, but this one is like the only one I could really get, get it to work nicely, let's just say that. It took me a while trying to figure out what I could or can't, but I just couldn't figure out anything else. Pickaxe is the Lunar Defender, part of the 7 set, introduced in Chapter 3, Season 4, and this is Paradigm Reality 659's pickaxe, and I decided to use the Aurora Defender, mainly for the green and the white. And then the wrap, I'm using the 1s and 0s, I just wasn't sure what to use, so I just whacked on the Follow the White wrap for the 1-0s, which is part of the Follow the White Rabbit set, which is basically a Matrix wrap introduced in Chapter 3, Season 1, mainly for the green. The black works pretty nicely also. Let's move on to the next skin. I decided to whack on Ellen Ripley, which is part of the In Space set, and basically the 2 alien skins that we have, obviously part of the Alien franchise, which you have the Ellen Ripley, and you also have the Xenomorph, which is the next combo. This skin itself, the Ellen Ripley, has 2 edit styles as Ellen Ripley, and Nostromo Crew, so I decided to go for standard, which is Ellen Ripley. Back bling is her back bling, the Wayland Yutani Cat Carrier. I think that's how I said it, Wayland Yutani Cat Carrier, yeah, I'll go with that. I wasn't sure what to use, that's why I decided to use this one. Pickaxe is the Icebreaker, which is an item shop pickaxe, part of the Arctic Commander set, introduced all the way back in Chapter 1, Season 1. Just decided to whack this on for the black and silver. And the wrap I decided to use is Assassin, once again for the black and the silver, part of the John Wick set, introduced in Chapter 1, Season 9, and this is an item shop weapon wraps. If the John Wick skin or when the John Wick skin comes back, this should be in the item shop. Also, let's move on to the second last combo, which is the Xenomorph. And the only back bling I could find that goes nicely with the skin is the Xenomorph tail. Just because I was trying a few other things. If I had the basically the version of the perfect wings but in black, I would have used those, but I don't own those, so that's why I decided to buy the Xenomorph tail. Pickaxe is Fantastic Pulse, and decided to style Cosmic Edge. Primary colour is black, and section colour is black also, goes very nicely. And the wrap just had to be Big Man or fully black themed wrap would work nicely. If you don't have this one, which is part of the John Wick set, introduced in Chapter 1, Season 9. You got this from doing challenges in John Wick Bounty LTM all the way back in Chapter 1, Season 9. You could always whack on the Stealth Black if you do own it, which is this one here, which is an item shop wrap, and comes back usually when the wrap skins are about, so it's either glitching error on the older ones. This usually comes around then. And then the final skin is Isaac Clarke, which is part of the Strange Transmissions set, and you basically have to buy it in basically like a pack, Strange Transmissions pack with actual money. I think it was like around £15 £50 in pounds, but I'm not sure how much that would have costed for you guys, obviously depending where you live, but either way you have to buy it with actual money. And it has two edit styles. It has reactivity on and off. For this combo, I decided to turn it off, because if you have it on, basically when you take damage, the back counter changes basically in the game. Like as you can see here, when you take damage, it goes like up. Blue's good, red's obviously close to going down, or not having a lot of health, so you're basically losing health. That's how it works in the game, and how it works in Fortnite. So I decided to turn it off, so it just goes fully blue. Back bling is the Ali Tech backplate, which is Ali's back bling, and I'm using the Ali Tech plasma wings with the light color Rare Reaper full of blue. Pickaxe, it's a plasma cutter, which you got in the Strange Transmissions pack itself, so that's perfect. I thought this one obviously I would use it. And the wrap I was using is Ripley for the blue, which is part of the Slurp Squad introduced in Chapter 2, Season 1. It's mainly for the blue, and in obviously Dead Space itself, you obviously go. He's a space engineer. He has to go to the USG Ishimura, which obviously is what the back bling is, which you see right here. And basically he has to go and prepare it, and then obviously he gets attacked by all basically monsters and stuff. So he basically goes to space and he's working in space. Essentially, that's why I decided to use the skin. And yes, that is all the space themed combos done. Thank you once again, Record Guy 2023, for the video suggestion. Sorry it took me a little while to get it done. Just when the new Star Wars skins came out, I just thought I'd get those done. So I'll just be continuing to get combos done or suggestions done. So if there is any specific combo or skin related or just any cosmetic related video in general, feel free to let me know. It could be skin, back bling, pickaxe, glider search umbrella, contrail, even weapon wrap. Feel free to whack it in the comments. If I have it, I'll get it done. If I don't, whack another one in. And if I have it, I'll make sure to get it done as soon as I can. But anyways, that's pretty decent.